Yeah, you're very welcome along to the return of Trader Chas, Johnny Ward and Flynn Goward. We're having an off-air debate on when Flynn will have his second child, over and unders and prices and all this happening. Flynn, you're playing a bit of a cagey game on it though.
I am indeed. I would imagine back end of next year, all fingers crossed and touch wood and all that gear. But yeah, back end of next year, Johnny's trying to speed me through the process. We've obviously come back to Trader Chat. It's been a while off, and we've led with that, which is very surprising.
Yeah, the dogs, the dog derby was back in Shelbourne Park, so we're all getting a bit giddy over here in Ireland for some fun ahead. Will Bide come to the Champion Stakes at Leopardstown as well? Could well happen. Will he go to the Arc? Probably not. Where will he go? He certainly went to York. Flynn, this performance was right up there, I think, with Frankel, See the Stars, anything they ever achieved. I was actually getting out the trumpet. I was a bit surprised at the price he was. There was literally no way in the world of God he wasn't going to get a mile and two to me. He just had to run his race, but didn't really expect him to win as well as he did.
No, this was by far his most impressive performance for me. I've been a bit of a Bide downer, to be honest. Always been the one saying, how can we compare him to the likes of
What's he
Frankel?
beating, so on and so forth.
Yeah. It's not Bide's fault, but purely the fact that Frankel was beating Sirius Azega, Camphor Cliffs, all these proper top horses in their own right. I know that Bide's got to be Mishriff here, and to be fair, here he's done it really impressively. Whereas he looks a little bit workman like the last couple of days. He probably looked like he was actually wanting this trip.
Yeah.
So if they're going to go even further, I really wouldn't put them off it. Not they're obviously going to listen to me anyway. But just in terms of visually, this was by far the best performance, and I'll be more of a Bide kind of lover in terms of the top level now after this performance, as opposed to before this in the Jubbonne International. You obviously posed the question there, Johnny. Where does he go now? He's obviously could go for the Champion Stakes. He's free on to go to the Champion Stakes. 7-2 for the Arc. I think if he's going to get to, if he goes and routes them in the Arc, he would be above Frankel for me. But if he goes and wins a Champion Stakes, hard held, there's always going to be the what if. It didn't. I was speaking to Lofty when we were on track at York, and it didn't. He was making a point that it didn't hamper Galileo going further. It did in terms of a breeding aspect, and it's not hampered these horses who have tried it and potentially got beaten after going further when they go on to breeding. The proof's in the pudding when it comes to breeding. How good are the horses that actually appear? So why not give it a go? He's proved that he's such a fantastic racehorse. He'll still hold that value at stud. Why not take the risk and win a once in a lifetime type of race with a horse that's got a string of ones next to his name already?
Yeah, 100%. Like I fancied a horse at Naas yesterday because Aidan O'Brien dropped actually his sister to Churchill back to 6 furlongs on the basis that my selection would outpace her. And she did, but in the last sort of half furlong up the hill, Aidan O'Brien got it right. You can get a Galileo bred even to win good races, as Jim Bull did over 6 furlongs. For me, if Bide wins the Arc, it does absolutely no disservice to him as a stallion, because if you're taking Bide to your mare, Bide is 100% bred for a mile and a half as it is. His stock are going to probably be middle distance horses. You will get some of them that will be milers like Bide is, mile and two horses. But go to the Arc in terms of, the sporting operation of stepping up in trip. And a bit like his dad, at the end of a campaign, which would entail 6 Group 1s over different trips in different countries, that would be the kind of the key to it for me. And if he fails in the Arc, this is the only thing. If he fails in the Arc as the owner, I'd be a bit sad that he doesn't go to stud unbeaten, because I think that's something to be cherished. But if he fails in the Arc, people just say, well, he didn't get home. That's fine. So I think go to the Arc. I don't think it's going to happen, but I'd love to see it happen. And he's a beautiful racehorse. He reminds me of basically a cross between Frankel and See the Stars, pretty much, and that's not a bad thing.
Yeah, possibly. I think he's still got to go and do it against a proper performer. Not saying that Mishriff isn't, but I wouldn't have Mishriff up there with Camphor Cliffs or Sirius Zagler in terms of a role of honour. I know Mishriff's obviously done it abroad, but just in my head, I've always got the horses that Frank will beat better as the ones that Bide beat. I don't know the ratings off the top of my head. I'll probably be made to look silly in the comments. Someone will tell me that Mishriff rated this, Camphor Cliffs was rated this, but just in terms in my head, I have those horses above what Bide's beaten.
Yeah, well,
I'm not
that's
sure where it
well and
stands with
good,
you,
but
Johnny.
you're winning 7.5 lengths. So that's like Mishra probably ran his race, and Racing Post ratings it one of the highest rated performances of all time. You can beat what's in front of you. Maybe there aren't a plethora of top class mile and two horses at the moment. So maybe to answer your question, then he does need to run in the Arc and beat what is obviously a good set of mile and a half horses. Beat them, and then But there's one thing beating what's in front of you, but beating a very well established proper mile and two horse by 7.5 lengths or whatever, that is a bit special.
Oh yeah. I'm not debating it special. I'm just going to look up the ratings now, just so I can confirm that I'm an idiot, as what I've just said. But to be fair, Mishra's rated 124. I know he's beaten in by plenty. Camper Cliff's 127. So again, I know it's about the manner of victory and all that type of stuff. But I don't think the comment I just made was too far fetched, as I kind of said it, and therefore that actually could be a bit silly. But to be fair, just backed up by ratings a little bit there. But look, fantastic performance, and we'll wait to see where he goes. In terms of on the day, obviously, it wasn't a good result for us. He was around that price where you could actually back him. He wasn't like a 6 on type of silly number for the race. So we actually did our money on Baid, and it was a tough first day. In terms of other performances on the first day, one to talk about would be Deauville Legend, who was impressive, winning by around 3 lengths, and that puts himself in the picture for the Melbourne Cup. He's actually 9-1 favourite with us in the Melbourne Cup. We had word before that he was probably going to be a Melbourne Cup horse. So one to look out for when we get to November time, start November. Then we have to quickly talk about Alfred Bucher, who won on the first day and obviously got himself into the Ebor after being done ahead. So that was day one. Did you manage to get through all 4 days of watching Johnny? Any highlights from the rest, or do you want me to spin through?
You can spin through. I was in Kilbeggan on Fridays. That took up my whole day. Missed basically most of Friday at York. Baid was the highlight for me. We had some obviously interesting runners from Ireland as well, but you can spin through.
Okay, so we obviously stood at the track for the first time for the Ebor. We bought number 10 on the rails. So myself, Lofty, Simon, and then Nick and Eddie were working for us as well. So fantastic to go to York. Everybody raves about York. I can see why. They do it very well at York. The prices are respectable, tickets respectable, parking's nice and easy, really accessible, and then the town's fantastic. So really wouldn't put anyone off going to York, and obviously wouldn't put anyone off coming to have a bet with us at York.
I did see Frankel run at York, actually beating St. Nicholas Abbey. It was the only time I saw Frankel. The only time I went to York, I had a good night out afterwards, but it was nothing compared to the night out that you apparently had, meeting 2 of the greats of social media.
Oh, sure. Look, it wasn't. I wouldn't say it was a proper night out. We just shared a few beers. People probably saw on Twitter that Goward, as I now know how to pronounce his name, so IC Retro now, was out with us, and also the racing blogger, and we facilitated that meeting, and it was a lovely harmony of personalities. Yeah, there you go. But as you just stated there, St. Nicholas Abbey, that's another fantastic racehorse at Frankelby, and that's a rate 124 there. So that's just another one to add to the Frankel score.
Yeah, Frankel absolutely demolished him. Yeah. Anyway, getting back to your night out, or getting back to day 2.
Yeah, so back to day 2. So we were obviously standing at York, so it's not just in the office where damage was done, it was also on the track. Alpinista was obviously the highlight of day 2 in the Yorkshire Oaks. So we laid $7,000 on course at 15-8. Eventually made it a level day for us. We won on every race bar that race, right, and we ended up levels. So if we weren't to do 12 or 13 grand on that race, then we would have been nicely in front. We laid a few lumps in the office, 12 grand 7-4, 4 grand 7-4. Then we laid a 6-figure bet at 7-4. Can't give you the specific amount, but a 6-figure bet at 7-4. So it was a very big loser in the office. Alpinista is now 8-1 for the Arc. So it will be weird seeing that familiar Luke Morris action coming to win the Arc. It would be a sight to behold, wouldn't it? Moving on to day 3 swiftly. So we didn't see the clash that we wanted to in the Lonsdale Cup, obviously with Stradivarius and Trusham not running. Trusham being a very late non-runner. We laid a 5,000 to 4 on before he was withdrawn. We also laid another few grand. Trusham, obviously that money went back to the punter straight away. But it was still a good watch because an enterprising ride from Tom Marquand on quick form made it a bit of a spectacle. One that could maybe go over jumps in time, Johnny. Do you think a quick one could be a real good horse over jumps, couldn't he?
That's a bit better than that now. I was talking to Tony Mullins because there's a bit of a form boost for Princess Zoe, obviously, who's planning her. I think the horse a little bit better than jumping now. Sure, I mean, you're just a jumper.
What do you mean by that?
I mean, this is a proper
better than jumping.
Yeah, but it's a right proper good staying horse in the flat. I mean, that's what you do. You run a staying race on the flat. You don't jump hurdles in Musselburgh. Come on. Son.
Well, yeah, I'm not saying you need to send quick form to Musselburgh. I was thinking more of a Cheltenham Aintree type. But yeah, that's one to keep an eye on. When me and Johnny do a trader chats in October and quick form is in some nice races over 2 miles over hurdles. We'll have that conversation then. But it was a great ride and still a good spectacle. Also on day 3, Noble Star was well backed on course and in the office on his way to the win in the Gym Cracks. That wasn't a good result. Then Highfield Princess was an interesting one. Was a lot of late money for Highfield Princess, backed into 5-1 from 13-2 after winning up in France previously. The race was completely set up for Highfield Princess by the Platinum Queen. I still think will be a decent horse over a quick 5 furlongs. She absolutely bolted up at Goodwood, at Glorious Goodwood there. But set up for Hypel Princess, who did a fantastic job and obviously won a good few legs in the end. That was actually a small winner for us on track. All the money was for Royal Acclaim in the race. We led a cash punt of 10,000 at 11-4 on track. So good to see the big punters as well as the smaller ones are out on the course and they're finding us. So going into day 4, on the week we were bang level. We obviously wanted to win the X's and then a little bit more on the day. We had a good result in the office in the first race, but a tough result on course. We had 5,000 to 2,000 winner Alfeda. Mighty Ulysses didn't manage to do the business for us there. But the results on track did get a little bit better. We avoided Kinross, who won at 5-1. Sacred was the best bats horse there. Then we wanted either of the front two were absolutely fine in the Ebor. We actually laid Get Shirty 1,500 quid each way at 20-1. But on course, luckily, we were 4 places a quarter. We obviously went 4 or 5th when there were a few non-runs a bit later on. But 4 a quarter was laid about that one, and it was being into 5th by a head. So it would have been a tough one to take for us, and obviously a tough one to take for the punter in that case as well. But Alfred Bucher or Chorleyman, fantastic ride from Frankie as well on Chorleyman. Do you think, Johnny, it was a bit Golden Horn-esque?
Absolutely, and I'm just looking back here. If my kind of suspicions are correct here, Quick Turn would be the best flat horse ever to be sent over hurdles because he'd be rated about 120 after Friday. So there you go. Maybe it'll happen.
Yeah, it could happen. It's one to keep an eye on. Then just one more race on Dave was talked about was getting Rocket Rodney beat at 6-4, which meant we had a winning meeting on the track on our first visit to Ebor. So we won the X's and a tiny bit more, and we had a decent week in the office as well. So on the horse racing front last week, it was a good week in terms of a social aspect for the Star Sports boys, meeting lots of different personalities, see loads of people at York. But also from a racing front, it was a really good racing week, which was good to see. And I know we're not at the end of the flat season yet. We've still got Champions Day, we've still got the Arc, we've still got plenty of things to go. But we are nearing the end of the flat season again towards the beloved jumps. So it's been a good summer all in all.
Yeah, Rocket Rodney beating again at a short price, and that was an amazing finish, it has to be said, in the Ebor. Let's talk football now. We're recording this for Manchester United could and probably will lose 5 successive league games for the first time since, let me see the figure here, for the first time since March 1972. So over 50 years ago, this would be 5 successive league games in a row because they lost their last 2 last season. They lost the first 2 against the might of Brighton and Bournemouth this season. Liverpool, who themselves had a wobbly start to the season, are obviously short price tonight. But what about the Gunners? I was expecting them to do well this season. What a start.
Yeah, well, Johnny, it's not a coincidence that we've brought back Trader Chat 3 games into the season and Arsenal have won their first 3 and they are top of the league. So it's not a coincidence that we're back. Just to remind everybody of our offer on the football, we do have our 2 good offer again going this year. So we'll pay your bet out as a winner if your team goes 2 goals up at any stage of the match. So do check that out if you are betting football. There's loads of other offers. If you just look at the little scrolling carousel across the app or on the website, you'll see them all pop up there. But yeah, what starts of the season? Let's just start with a show of the outrights because it looks fairly different to when we started the season. City 2-5, Liverpool 4-1. Tottenham are in there at 11-1. Arsenal in there at 12. Obviously much bigger towards the start of the season. Chelsea there at 20. Big drifters after a worrying performance of the weekend. A bit of a shaky start for Chelsea. United are in there at 100. You probably add a 0 to that. Newcastle are in there at 150. Brighton in 250, and then you're 500 to 1 bar. In terms of what the book looks like, 2 losers in the book. West Ham. We always have West Ham losers. Actually, we've got a few select punters who like to have a good old dip at a big price. Some decent money done at 125 and 150. And then Spurs would be the other losers. Just looking at the a very decent bet at 25 to 1, decent bet at 22. And then very big bet at 14 actually. So we've laid Spurs all the way down. And
I don't know if I don't know if you saw City yesterday. Sorry, Flynn. I didn't. Obviously, just I've come to the opinion that they're pretty much good things because I don't think Liverpool are quite good enough. They did concede 3 goals.
Yeah, it was an interesting one, wasn't it? They just looked like they were going to bring it back. Obviously, they didn't bring it back the full way in the end, but. I mean, the most solid team thus far this year has been Arsenal. It's not like Arsenal have had really easy games. We started with Palace away, so it's not the easiest in the world. And I mean, City obviously played Newcastle away yesterday. You say that's probably similar difficulty, maybe a little bit harder than playing Palace away. So it's an interesting one. I think the proof will be in the pudding for Arsenal when we actually start playing proper teams. Because last year we seemed to beat the teams that were last in the league, and as soon as we faced anyone around us or above us, we really, really struggled. So It'll be interesting to see how the mentality holds up against those type of teams. But look, the business that Arsenal have done in the summer, Gabriel Jesus, who started when we first signed him. Yeah, when we first signed Jesus, he was 28-1 for top goal scorer. He's now 7. And it's not like he scored a bundle of goals. I think he's got 2, hasn't he? So he's got 2. So just for top goal scorer, Haaland's 11-8, Salah 5-1, Kane 6-1, Jesus 7, Nunez 18, and then your 20-1 bar. So he shortened right up. Haaland also shortened up. We had a very decent bet at around 7-2, I believe, for top goal scorer.
Wow.
And
I didn't realise he was that big, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, after the first game, he shortened right up into 11-8. That was just after game 1. I think I'll get the mark up here. I'm sure we actually laid the bet at shorter, because I remember the case for wanting to lay the bet was that you could have had 3-1, 7-2 yesterday, and now we're laying 11-8 or something like that. Yeah, there you go. We've laid 30 grand at 5-4 on Haaland to be top goal scorer. So
wow,
very decent bet obviously laid there. We've laid him as big as 9-2. So obviously 9-2 when he first came over. Monkey each way at 4. A good few hundred quid done at 3-1, and then that 30 grand there at 5-4. So Haaland is obviously the only loser in the book when it comes to top goal scorer. Also some money done on Raheem Sterling, weirdly, at 33-1. So he would be the worst winner in the book, but then the field is pretty healthy. But yeah, Arsenal going great guns. Just be interesting to see how they get on when they start playing some of the better teams. Just in terms of other markets that we've got as well as the outrights that I just mentioned, we've got the goal scoring pairs. So we did this last year. Haaland and Saka are favourites there at 5-2. Salah and Maddison second at 7-2. Harry Kane and Phil Foden, the English pair, there at 4-1 in your 6-1 bar. We've also got the first player to 10 Premier League goals. So if you wanted to have a top goal scorer bet, but have it finish a little bit quicker, Haaland's in there at 13-8, so he's a bigger price and obviously a top goal scorer for the whole season. Mo Salah's in there at 5-1. Harry Kane's in there at 11-2. Jesus is there at 6-1. Rodrigo's in there at 6, who's obviously got off to a flyer for Leeds. Everybody's rushing to get him in their fantasy football teams as a midfielder. And then your 10-1 bar in that market. So it's not just the main outright markets we've got available. We've obviously got the kind of special star derivative markets that we've priced up ourselves.
Finally, what price relegation market? What price are Everton, and what price is Lampard to be the first manager to go, and what price is his old England teammate, of course, they could never play together, Steven Gerrard, to be the first price to go?
That is a very good question. I can get you the relegation price because they're here in front of me, and then I can try and find the other. Bournemouth 2-5 to go down. Forest 11-8. It's a fairly competitive market this year, isn't it? Everton are 2-1. Southampton 2-1. Fulham 9-4. Wolves 11-4. Brentford 4-1. Who look decent this year.
Fulham are 9-4 already to go down.
Yeah, Fulham are 9-4.
Wow.
So they've obviously gone the other way, and then Southampton and Everton have kind of filled that void a little bit, haven't they?
This is like 3 games in. I think Fulham are well odds on anyway.
Yeah. So they've gone obviously completely the other way. It's Bournemouth who have been the ones that shortened up. I think Bournemouth were, I don't know if they're around 6-4 maybe to go down, maybe even shorter. I might have just plucked that out, but I seem to remember that being the price that's been quoted. Let me just see if I've got the first manager to leave. We haven't actually got it up at the moment, so these could potentially be out of date. But the last prices we had Brendan Rodgers and Frank Lampard both 7-2 joint favourites. There's Steven Gerrard in there at 9-2, Hassan Hutel 5-1, Ten Hag 5-1, and then 10-1 bar. That was obviously as of the last game. I'll get back into the office and I'll go and update these. But if there isn't much changes, then they'll be fairly similar to that. Beautiful.
Well, let's just wrap up then. What is the over/under on baby number 2 in the Goward house? We're talking September 2023.
All fingers crossed, and that everything's still working my end. I'm going to go September next year.
And you heard it here first. Ben Keith will update the market accordingly. It's been great talking to you, Flynn.
Thank you. It's good to be back.
Yeah, Flynn managed to get through a night out with Icy and the blogger. Hope you managed to get through the return of Trader Chat. We'll talk to you soon.